Hello, everyone. Welcome to Museum Minds. If you are a museum professional looking for ongoing learning and networking and a few laughs along the way, you are in the right place. If you haven't already, please introduce yourself in the chat. We would love to know your name, your organization, and throw your LinkedIn profile in there as well if you have one. So we are super excited to have our guest today, museum store expert consultant, Melody Cabán, to talk about how you can align your museum store or gift shop. But there's a question of what we need to call it, and we'll get there in a minute. How you can align your museum store with your organization's mission. And like Beth said earlier, we'll tell you in a minute why we are wearing these hats. So everybody smile. We are on record, and I think we are recording. We actually
Yes,
put this
confirmed.
slide here
Confirmed.
because we have forgotten to record in the past. So we are recording, and you will receive a recording uh, tomorrow. So, what is this meetup all about, and why the heck are we wearing these hats? So, Beth, why don't you take it from here, and then we'll do a few more introductions and get started.
Oh my gosh. First things first. It is our birthday. And that is why we wear the hats. Can you believe that we are fully 2 years worth of Museum Minds? There are Is there 24 of these waiting in the
There must be.
midst for everybody? Oh my gosh. So 24 times we have met on this day to talk to museum professionals about amazing things. We are entering into our third year. How is that possible? Thank you for all of the reactions. We feel so good about it, and we want to make sure that you all are included in all of this. So, yes, give us a reaction. Celebrate with us. We're so excited. So, today marks our birth month. Yes, the day is there. But it is our birth month of Museum Minds, and we're officially entering into our third year with intention to keep it up. Museum Minds is always free. So, that's what we're all about. We talk about museum goodness. We want to inspire people. We are not gatekeepers. We want information out to folks. We want to have some fun. And Rainey and I are just two museums besties chatting it up and inviting some new museum besties into the room as well. Oh, good. So
All
that's what
right.
this is all about.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, again, thank you for being here. This is the agenda for today. I know some of you guys are OG Museum Minds people and have heard this a million times, but for those who are new, today right now we're doing the 5 to 10 minutes of housekeeping and introductions. And typically, how this goes is 25-ish minutes of interactive learning. Today, Beth will be interviewing Melody, and then 25-ish minutes of networking and Q&A. We don't always follow the pattern. Sometimes we go over. If you have to leave in the middle, we understand, but I will say some of the best conversations happen in the last half of this where we can ask questions. You can ask questions if something is on your mind. And we have something fairly new to announce. We've been doing this 3 or 4 times, I think, but we have created a Museum Minds after party. So after the next hour, we stick around. Is something on my screen? Let me move that. We stick around for another half an hour and just have casual conversations and ask more detailed questions or answer more detailed questions. And if you are a part of either of our communities, Beth's Museum Leaders Academy and my school community called Art Meets Strategy, you are more than welcome to stick around and have these conversations. Or if you just want to learn more about those communities, we would love to have you as well. So why don't we do some quick introductions so you know who the heck Beth and I are, and then we will get on to Melody, since that is why you are here. So let me introduce myself really quickly. My name is Rainey Robison. It's pronounced rainy like the weather. And I am the founder of Neptune Sugar. I help arts and museum professionals who are wearing the marketing hat clarify their branding, messaging, and storytelling so they can clearly communicate with their mission and communicate their mission and reach the right audiences. Recently, I've been doing a number of online courses, and I will talk about those at the end. So, Beth, why don't you introduce yourself and then we'll move on.
Heck yeah, I'm Beth Housewort, and I am the founder of Inspired Impact. I help new museums and new museum professionals get a jump start on their industry knowledge. It's been so much fun to take my 25 years of experience and help other people learn faster about the industry so they have more confidence and they can move their careers and their projects faster forward. So I am in the midst right now of our leadership accelerator that's 7 weeks long. Um, Admissions and applications are closed, but we're doing it again after the conference. So I'll talk a little bit more about that afterwards. And we would love to have you also stay for the after party if you have any questions about the goodness that happens between these two party brains.
So last slide, we did want to mention that Beth and I do free discovery calls. I am going to be putting our contact information in the chat right now. So we hope you can grab a time, spend a half an hour with us. If you have any question about what we do, we would love to talk with you. Also, I just started this, but if you would like a free branding audit, hop on my calendar and I will do that for
Yeah.
you and then we can have a conversation. So I'll be putting this in the chat. Let's dive in. After we talk with Melody, we do have a few other things we would like to share with you. But for now, I'm going to stop share and turn the time over to the both of you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, it's time to get down to the seriousness. As much as I love a good party hat, I just can't the entire time.
Right.
I'm a little bit party, I'm a whole lot serious, but we like to have fun while we're being serious. So, today is all about museum stores. And before we get totally into it, on Monday, I posted something in my LinkedIn feed, and it was a little poll, and maybe some of you are here from that poll, just asking folks, what do you call your retail space? Is it a museum store? Is it a museum shop? Or is it a gift shop? So go ahead and put your answer in the chat because what came up in the poll we're kind of tied between two things.
Ooh.
Oh, there's so many good ones,
Lots of gift shops. Toy
right? I'm surprised.
store.
Toy store. Oh, wow, that surprised me. Can you
Ooh.
tell? Discovery store. Love that. So the dino store.
Ooh.
Yes. All right. So that helped prime the pump a little bit. In that our introduction of our very widely celebrated superstar of the day could be called a museum store consultant, could be called a museum shop expert, could be called a gift store maven, or maybe even a dino store diva. Yeah,
Ooh.
those are all the things that I would call her, but I'm going to let her introduce herself and get down to like the real technical side. So this is Melody Cabán. Tell us about yourself, lady. Oh, and right as that happens,
Two rock stars. Shortcut to knowledge. So, first of all,
There you go.
also Dinosaur Diva. Yes.
I know,
I,
dinosaur store diva. Give it to us one
yeah.
more time, Melody, only because my screen froze when you were introducing yourself, and I want to make sure everybody hears your full introduction.
Hey there. I'm Melody Cabán. I help folks take their gift shop, their museum store, whatever you might call it, from like an afterthought to the final exhibit. I've been doing this for nearly 20 years. We're not doing the math. We're not doing that today. But I'm a consultant that works with everything from like art to science, cultural commerce, retail, even vendors, to really bring that power of these stores to you from revenue to interpretation. It's a powerful place, and I'm obsessed. I like to call myself Museum Store Melody sometimes.
I I love that. Well, hey, I gave you all those names ahead of time, but I think Museum Store Melody is what fits the best. All right, so everybody is here to hear your wisdom, and there were so many registrants. Whether everybody's here on site right now in the room or they're watching the recording, I know that you're going to bring some really amazing things. So we do have a list of questions today that are kind of general that we're going to do in this first little section. And then we also looked deeply into all of the questions that came in on the registrations. Because yes, we read every single one of those and we take them into consideration when we're planning. So hopefully a lot of them are answered in the general section. And then if not, you can always pop on or raise your hand at the end to have it answered in the Q&A. All right, so our first question to Melody is why would a museum have a museum store?
Yeah.
Why is it so important? Super vague, super
Yep.
general, but tell us the reasons that you would encourage a museum to have a museum store.
So first off, it's your final exhibit. I like to say that as it's the store's the last impression a visitor has. They're walking out, they're capturing everything that they visited before, and the store is wrapping that up, right? So really an extension of the mission. Something to keep in mind there, though. Even if they don't buy anything from, they're actually more likely to come back to your museum just by visiting the store.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, they
Hmm.
sent some data. So just coming by the store and having that experience, coming by, chatting, touching those products, looking at stuff, they're coming back. They're getting that positive experience, even if they're not buying anything. That's that cherry on top of the visit.
And I would think too that something like that also makes a museum visit extremely personal,
Yeah.
and it makes people think about the museum as a personal place for them because they have to
Mhm.
make those choices of like, do I want the really cool
Mm.
necklace that was purchased at the St. Louis Art Museum, or do I pass on it? Or do I want to buy the puzzle
Yeah.
in the Science Museum store? What would fit best in my house? And to me, that's making like such a cool personal connection to the museum that's even beyond the content and the interactivity that happens
Mm.
within the museum space itself. So good, so good.
So
Well,
it brings it all back. So the next one would be, look, it's obvious revenue, right?
right,
It's what you
right.
guys want. But the revenue,
Every nonprofit is hoping for revenue. Do
yes.
you have any like statistics or like things like that that kind of would show how a museum store might reflect on revenue? Oh no, there's a freezing issue today.
To 25 from from museum stores, but it can really range. I'd
Okay,
say
say
looking at
it one
numbers.
more time because mine was frozen. Does is it my frozen issue or is it everybody's frozen issue?
I wonder if she should turn off her camera as much as we want to see your face, but
Mm,
maybe that will
Well,
help.
it's
But
not happening all the time.
that's
Just
true. That's true.
respond to that answer one more time. And if it happens
Yeah,
again, then we'll,
then we'll do that.
figure
Yeah.
it out.
yeah, yeah, of course. I'd say it's about 5 to 25% you're expecting
Mm.
from the museum store. A third of that is going to be of revenue is earned revenue. Up to 25% museum store.
Ah, okay. Okay. I think that's, you know what I mean? It's nothing to sneeze at. That's for sure.
No.
And I know that there are some museum stores out there that are huge. They're so big and they have this really amazing like addition to the bottom line inside of the budget. And that can lead to all kinds of different things, which is really, really cool for the sake of a nonprofit organization.
Ooh.
What else
Looks
you
like I'm
got? Why
still
why
freezing.
would be another reason? Give me another one.
I'm going to turn off that video just to make it a little easier. So hopefully you can hear me. Uh,
Yes, we can.
Another reason would be to have, you're really creating that third space. People know how to shop. They might not know how to museum, I like to say. So it becomes that decompression area where you're stopping by, you're enjoying, you're able to get away. Maybe you need that quiet. It becomes a third space within your museum.
Mm, I like that. I like it because it is a bit of a different experience. And it could create a much more differently memorable experience. I know that when I've walked through museum stores in different locations, some of them were standard,
Mhm.
and some of them were like a really extra fun wow moment at the end that were very memorable. I can remember walking through the museum store at the Orlando Science Center. And I was like, oh my
Oh,
gosh, I want that shirt. Oh, that's so cool. Why don't they make that in an adult size? Oh, that's such a cool thing. I've never seen that before. It was really, really cool. But then also at the same time, I remember walking by a kiosk at the Florida Children's Museum in Lakeland, Florida, I think. Obviously, I'm a Florida girly. Um, and it was just a kiosk, but I had some of the same thoughts and same feelings that I was like, I wish that shirt was in an adult size.
yes.
That's such a cool thing. I've never seen it before. So definitely the ability to have a wow moment or a different experience inside of a museum. So good.
Ex yeah, exactly. You can linger, you can reflect. Maybe something just didn't click in the exhibit, and now you have the time and the space for it to click in the store. It's that exhibit continuing in there.
Yes, so good, so good. Well, we kind of alluded to the idea that there are many different types of stores that are available. And I know that there were questions on the registration too of like, how can we maximize our space? Or how can we make sure that the museum store was the right one for us? Can you
Mhm.
dive a little bit deeper about all the different kinds of museum stores?
There, there's lots of different types, but to start off, first there's self-operated. You're operating it internally, right? You're it's your staff, you're choosing the products, you're able to really align that with your exhibits. It's all done by you guys. And I know it can be a lot because there's a lot of hats you got to wear there,
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
a lot of work. But there's also the outsourced, the concessionaires. You'll see these a lot at zoos, at science centers. That's done externally. It's going to be lower risk, but sometimes it can feel a little generic. I know I can walk into a zoo and go, I feel like I've been here many times before into those shops. So you have to really find that good fit, make sure that doesn't feel generic, make sure that you have the bandwidth to also keep an eye on it matching up with your mission.
You
But
know,
then,
and just as you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, there's such a big difference there between those two, but also it makes me wonder, like financially, and this was not a question that we brought up before, it just popped into my head. As soon as you said outsource, concessionaire, I thought, well, and then there's also that like your percentage that you get back is less
mhm,
because of the fact that you have to give them some. Is that
ex- exactly right. You're going to have a revenue split when it comes to that concessionaire and have to negotiate that down. So you're really to keeping all those pieces in mind. Outsource is great when you don't have that internal bandwidth, but you
right?
still want a store.
Mhm.
But having that self-operated internal work, you're being able to play with all the levers, play with all the levers, be able to pivot quickly, keep in mind what you're doing. And it's really just seeing that right fit for where you are.
And also knowing too that oftentimes, because as I was thinking about that financial side of things, I was also thinking, I know the museums that I've worked with usually have a staff member devoted to the
Hmm.
museum store. So that's cutting into the revenue too. So if they have that outside concessionaire, and their team only needs to sell the product as opposed to coordinate the product, it may balance a tiny bit. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the museum store consultant, so maybe my mind is just going down a rabbit hole and Melody has the answers.
That's just it. It's really fun. It might be the right fit right now for a concessionaire, but it might not be the right fit next year or a couple years from now, or the other way around with changes. There's not 100% what fits forever for you. And that's the great part that it can change. And that's the same when it comes to size. So
That was my next question.
yes, we could have a museum store that is a bookshelf or just behind the your visitor services desk. That's still a store. That's still a store. And then you can have a 3,000 square foot extravaganza.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. And again, going back to what you said before too, is what is the right fit?
Yeah.
I've seen the display case behind the counter work for so many places, and
Mhm.
they really then had to hone in on what are we providing. And, are we providing t-shirts where then we have to have backstock of 27 different sizes? Or are we just doing branded mugs or water bottles that you
Yeah.
can just have one box in the backstock? There's so many, many, many options. Ugh.
Yeah. And that's the fun part about having those different sizes. Maybe that bookshelf or two bookshelves I see and are the testing ground that just show
Mhm.
that there's demand. People want a store. Or and you can grow into a larger space later on. But you can do a lot with those shelves, just being able to bring in products, have people enjoy something that they can take home, a piece of the mission. And sometimes it's a lot of work to fill a 3,000 square foot store with thousands of different products, custom items. And if you have the bandwidth, it's amazing. You can have a whole experience. But if you don't, it starts to look sad really quickly.
Yeah, and there's nothing like the killer of an empty shelf or a
Mhm.
shelf with one item on it. Ugh. Ugh,
Yeah.
that's so hard. Well, speaking of issues, we got a lot of questions in registration too about like the things that people are struggling with. So I'm thinking like we're getting close to our like halfway point and I want to make it super duper impactful. Can you give us like I don't know, like three bangers or something like that that like really would help if people are struggling right now or maybe what are you seeing people
Yeah.
struggle with that you can give some validation and understanding?
Yeah. I know. Okay. So this first one, I know a lot of folks are going to relate with. It's inventory bloat. And sometimes it's not you who wants to keep those products, those 10-year-old catalogs, they need to go. Those
So
boxes
true.
from exhibits from long ago, they're not worth what they're taking up in room. They've got to go. Put them
Hmm.
on super clearance. See what you can do about getting those out of stock, and then you can actually bring in new product. Inventory bloat is a killer, and we don't want to count that come inventory day.
Right. Exactly. I remember too, like I was at one of my past museums and it was very much of the like the same display of the
Mhm.
same product was there all the time. And
Yeah.
like I always used to say to my programs team too, if you don't change it up, people start to ignore it and it starts to become
Yeah.
invisible. So again, like if you're having the same products all the time, it may just be that of like, oh, well, it's always the same thing. Or, oh, that's definitely where you can go and buy that really outdated book that, somebody wrote that gave a lot of money to the museum, something like that.
Exactly. We've all got that shelf in the back that has those items that can't get rid of,
Right?
hypothetically, but we should. We
Let
should.
them go.
Let
Let
them
them go,
go. Let
right?
them go.
All right. What else? What else?
Cross-departmental silos, which is really LinkedIn speak for we're not talking to each other enough.
So
Just
tell me a
feeling
little
like an
bit more
island.
about that and how those silos are presenting themselves in the museum store.
Really, it's the store has been treated really as a silo, as something that's not an active partner so much. So curatorial is planning an event, an exhibit. You find out about it a couple months before. Now you don't have time to make products that are custom items. Bring in something thoughtful. Maybe education is creating an event. It's a surprise to you, and now you're understaffed for that day of the event.
Mhm.
Really, stores need to have a seat at the table when anything's being planned. It can't happen just by happenstance. Having that store ready means that your products are going to cost less. There's no rush shipping. They're going to be more thoughtful. You're going to have a better mix. There's a lot of times you have exhibits and you think you know where they're going with it, but if you're not at that meeting, you might have missed it completely. And now your entire exhibit wall makes not quite sense with what they have on display. So bring people to the table, make it so that store people can attend the meetings. It's that
I think
easy.
that's great. Yeah, I think that's great. And it makes the museum store that much more relevant to your visit,
It,
especially when,
mhm,
it's almost like the museum store coordinator, manager person should not have to reinvent their own wheel
mhm,
when
mhm.
the wheel is already turning in the entire organization and they just can sit on that Ferris wheel chair and ride it and say like, hey, let's all plan together
Yes.
for what's coming, including the store, as opposed to the store trying to just guess or fill the store with irrelevant things
Yeah.
that are just cool for the people who normally shop there.
Mhm. And it's
Makes
it's
tons of
it's
sense.
helpful for everybody too. Maybe store has something that education can use for their book club that's coming up. They can get it at a better price. Even things like that. It opens up communication. It's going to help everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, give them a seat at the table. So
Yep.
good. So good. All right, give me one more thing that you see oftentimes. What else might there be?
It's expertise, knowing more about this. I know so many of folks in the comments, this is your seventh hat you're wearing. The museum store got put under you somehow, or you're doing visitor services plus retail. You're doing this, that, and retail rentals. So you don't have the expertise. You're not a buyer. Why would you be a buyer if you were concentrating on everything else? It's a very specific area. So taking the time to be able to get that expertise, whether it's through webinars like this, learning more about retail and buying, about turns, working with consultants, working all these pieces to get more knowledge so that you can do better in your museum. And you don't have to wear that hat begrudgingly. You can really enjoy the museum store there.
That is so true. And I know that in nonprofit organizations, many hats are worn by many people. And
Yeah.
like you said earlier, sometimes the museum store hat is the afterthought.
Mhm.
And it's like the extra thing that I am the floor manager and I manage the front desk people and all the things, but I also have to order stock for the store.
Yeah.
So that seems to be something that really is a struggle in lots of organizations. All right, we're getting we let's give ourselves maybe like 7 minutes more because we kind of like to push it when we are enjoying the conversation. But also at the same time, I know a lot of people who have come today are looking for solutions
Yeah.
and they're thinking like, this is a really good information, but like, how do I use it? And like, how can I like today do something
Yeah.
that can help our museum store? Because the theory is great and ideas are wonderful, but what can we do today to make our museum stores a wee bit better or
Yes.
phenomenal?
So I'm going to start off by asking people if you have a newsletter, an Instagram, a store website, to share it in the chat because seeing what
Ooh.
everybody else is doing is a great way to be learning about the trends, learning about what works, and then get some inspiration for your own store. So put it in there. I want to see these.
Mm.
It's nothing like inspo.
Right? Exactly. And I know that like there are some museum Instagram pages and social media pages that we have referenced in the past that are freaking hilarious. And
Hmm.
they're amazing. And they're so funny that I just feel like there's got to be some museum store pages that are also equally as inspiring, probably funny. But yeah, I love this idea of populating things here.
Yes. Yeah, get it all in there. So next up, I'd say we don't do this enough, but just walking around your store today. Walk around like a customer, like you've never been there before, bump into things, ask questions, what's missing, pick things up. They fall over. Now you know those things are unsteady and you should be changing them up. What did what's drawing you in the store? Walk it like a customer. It's a great one to do with your staff too, to just get them in there and be bumping up against everything. So you're experiencing the store, not just kind of passively taking it in.
I often do that like as a contractual work for exhibits.
Mm-mm.
And you saying that the store is the final exhibit, like what a great thing to go in, almost like, yes, in a store you'd have a secret shopper,
Exactly.
and like the staff can be those secret shoppers. They have a little bit of bias, and yes, they work there and all the things, but also like I would think it would be also kind of fun to like reach out to guests or even friends and
Hmm.
say, hey, can you do a little quick list of questions? Can you walk through our museum store and then give me some feedback on it? I'll give you 10% off. Or, I'll
Hmm.
give you these, someone else said they had 1,000 badges from 2024 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I bet you that you could have that feedback come from multiple sources.
Yeah, bring it in. And I like to do that even at if there's any stores near you from other museums, do it there. You might see that you are killing it in one area and
Right?
other areas you can easily do better in or didn't think about. So I love just to take it in person.
One of the things, and just as an aside, one of the things that I used to do as a supervisor of people is that I would give folks the opportunity to get a PTO day if they visited
Mm,
other museums,
yes.
but they had to come back with answers to a list of questions, one of which was go into their museum store and ask them what their top selling product is and what thing they love the most in the store.
Oh, I love that.
So again, it gave just a tiny little nugget of secret shopper, but
Hmm.
also we were sourcing back like from other museums, what are their top sellers?
Hmm.
So it was so good, so good. Okay, what's another thing? So
All right.
we're getting feedback on newsletters, Instagram, secret shopper, walking around with our teams. What else?
Okay, I know it's March, but this is the time to get ready for the holidays.
What?
Actually, it's January, but it is time to get ready for the holidays. So if you did really well or you want to be doing well, get ready to put those KPIs, those key performance indicators together and really know where you were at for the holidays. What was your average sale? What were the items that were doing well that maybe that you sold out of and you should have ordered more? Get all that together and start prepping so you can really kill it this holiday season and not feel like you're having to do this all last minute and have again more on your plate when your plate is already full.
Exactly, exactly. And honestly, what a great reason to get into those meetings
Hmm.
now. Because if you're a gift store manager or you're the person that has gift store on their plate, what better way than to say, hey, I just watched this thing this week and they were saying we should be planning for the holidays now. Do you mind if I attend a couple of the meetings that you're having that are planning out our holiday experiences so that I can better
Hmm.
be aligned when the shoppers come? Like that's a really easy step in the door, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it gets you to see a lot of times we run, run, run for the holidays. We do well, and then we're just taking a breath. And we don't tell people how great we did, or maybe some the things that we should have gotten help on that would have helped those sales do even better. So now you've got the numbers, you've got the KPIs to
Mhm.
toot your own horn or
Right.
prep for that experience in the future for the next holiday season. And now you're on top of it. You're the one leading the way.
And I do feel like when you say toot your own horn, I believe that in so many ways. You know what I mean? We had a whole session about tooting your own horn as a professional, but it's one of those too that the more you talk about it, the more awareness people will have.
Mhm.
You know, if your museum store is in the shadows and nobody talks about it, even in staff meetings or morning stand-ups, or, you know, if people don't talk about it, it will remain in the shadows.
Mhm.
But literally later today, a staff person could go out onto the floor and say, "Oh my gosh, it looks like you are really loving that dollhouse that we have in our under three space. Did you know that we have a version of that in our gift store? Do you know that our museum store actually has these Kiva blocks and you can take them home today?"
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't have to be salesy, anything like that, but I think just using the words and talking about the fact that it is present brings it out of the shadows, right?
Exactly. Like it's thinking of that store again. It's sure it's revenue, but it's also interpretation. You're adding on value in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
folks don't know. They won't know until you let them know.
Right. Absolutely. For sure. For sure. All righty. I think it's time that we open up to some questions. Do you
Ooh.
have, oh, Rainey
Yep.
is giving me a one
We got to
finger.
show you something real quick, and then we're
We
going to
got
move
to
into
show you
questions.
something first
Yeah, before
before
everyone
the
leaves.
questions. She's keeping me on task today. I'm
I'm
in party
trying.
mode.
It's
Oh my
hard
gosh.
sometimes. I'm just
Show
kidding.
me, Rainey,
Let's hope this
because
share. Are you seeing the right thing?
absolutely we are.
Okay. Well, Beth and I want to continue to support all of you in any way we can. So there's three things we want to talk about, and then we want your questions. Okay. So next month is branding that doesn't suck. This is a follow-up to two other sessions that we did that were enormously popular: photos that don't suck and graphics that don't suck. So basically, I've noticed a lot of organizations, their branding's kind of all over the place. Fonts are all over the place. Colors are all over the place. Canva templates are all over the place. But branding is also more than visuals. I see a lot of inconsistency in the voices and values, which ultimately create very mixed perceptions of what your organization is and what your organization does. So, what people may not realize is that there are some really quick and easy fixes for this. And so that's what we'll be talking about in our next Museum Minds. I think I mentioned this, but I will be presenting for that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Beth wants to tell you about her program. I'll tell you about my program, and then we'll dive into Q&A. While she's talking about that, I'm going to put a bunch of links in the chat as
Right.
well.
Right. All right. So this is New Leaders Launchpad. And like I alluded to, I forgot to change the date down at the bottom. We're currently in New Leaders Launchpad. It is a 7-week leadership accelerator that is focused on new leaders. A lot of them are in middle management. Those that are in right now are either 3 weeks into their job as a new manager of people, and we have friends that are there that are 6 years into their management of people and want to level up. I also have someone there that is looking to be ready for a promotion into a position that manages people. So, this is really about learning the foundations of management and being able to be a really strong, unique, and confident leader. Like I said, we're in it right now. I would love to talk to you more about it because another cohort will be opening up right after interactivity. So, We're in it right now. The way that you can get in, unfortunately, that QR code doesn't work either. I forgot this slide was
We
in here.
never make mistakes. What?
We never make mistakes, right? It's so good. It's so good. But the way that you can get in is going into Museum Leaders Academy, which is my big community. And we'll make sure that we put a little bit of information in the email that goes out tomorrow about Museum Leaders Academy, because that is a full year of support, office hours. I see my Museum Leaders Academy people in this call right now. So they can give you a little goodness in regards to the support that comes from having that conference feel all year long, which is really, really amazing. So, those are my two big initiatives right now: the member community of Museum Leaders Academy and the 7-week accelerator of that Leaders Launchpad. So, you can always talk to me more about that. Do we have more slides there,
We
Rainey?
do.
Or are
We
we
have
going
one
to get
more. And
into
that's it.
questions?
I promise.
Get it, girl.
So I am excited to announce a new strategy session that I created. I've been in the arts and culture world for over 25 years. I'm an artist. I've been a university educator, gallery director, and now I am an arts marketer. And during that time, I've noticed a lot of patterns. I noticed that a lot of arts and culture organizations really struggle to clearly articulate why their mission matters, why people should support it. Sometimes their audiences are kind of loosely defined and they don't really know how to engage with them. And, they just don't know how to create strategy and systems that help them, really put the right information out there. And I guess a better way to say it would be a lot of people are just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that it sticks. So if this is you, I created the 90-minute arts marketing plan. So in 90 minutes, we're going to create a 90-day marketing plan. And this is not a course. It is a live strategy session where I will give you a template. We will walk through how to define your audience, how to refine your messaging and storytelling, which is a huge question that we get in museum minds, how to create a content strategy, and probably most importantly, how to discover what makes you stand out, why people should pay attention to you and not just everyone else. So this is on Thursday, March 26th. I'm going to put the link in the chat. It is $49, but if you hop on today, I have a code. It's $10 off, so it will only be $39. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've been to sessions like this too. You would be surprised what we can accomplish in 90 minutes. So I'm going to put, I think it's actually in here. I just need to put return. So I hope that you will join us. And I just think it's really exciting. So I think that's it for what we have for you. Like I said, Beth and I really want to support you and continue to give you lots and lots of things you can participate in. So let's stop share and dive into
And
some questions.
also, there was a little note on the side that the link wasn't working.
Oh,
Museumleadersacademy.com is just where you need to go for that. All right, Melody, I see you in the
Hey,
chat
hey.
fielding questions. So I bet you already have an idea of what you want to answer.
Perfect. There's so many comments now. I've lost them already.
Ah, all right.
Yeah,
If
if you could help
anybody
me out.
wants to raise their hand, this is the benefit of being here live on the call. If you have a question, just raise your hand. If you want to pop on and ask, we'll call on you because there is a good fair share of people here today. Or you can pop your question into the chat. Jennifer, I love it. Thank you for being first. Jennifer, what's your question?
Cool. Wasn't
Love it.
expecting to be first. I popped this in the chat, but I assume it probably like got bumped up to the top since there's a lot of people active there right now. I work at a historic house museum, and our
Ooh.
store is like two shelves in the old servants' dining room. Do you have any examples of historic house museums that you've seen use like formal residential spaces effectively as a store, especially because ours is kind of in the middle of the tour path and trying to
Ooh,
direct people there at the end is difficult, but we don't have a good spot because we don't have like a lobby to put the store in because it's
very
house.
true. That's what I love about historic houses because you can have an idea, but they're all going to be completely different. But I don't have a good example for that. I really would recommend if having that. if you're having that signage along the way of please
Hmm.
pick, oh, if you love this, pick it up in our store at that location. I'm not sure if it's already like highlighted on any maps or any information to really highlight that on there. And just again, just reiterating, I would say I would love to say put some great vinyl pieces on the ground, but likely that you cannot do that.
Yeah.
Which I love to just bring people in. But you know what? I'll think about I'll get some ideas and may have to get back to you because
Hey,
there's
thank you.
get creative with that one.
It's a weird space.
That is the magic of historic homes and museums. There's not many that have the ideal space that we wish it would be in, right?
Oh, I see a good question here. Definitely a lot of conversation about sales.
Yes.
And then another one that I'm curious about here too is, oop, it just popped off the screen. How can the store help demonstrate the value of membership beyond the discount? That's a tricky one.
Ooh, that's a fun one. I like to have some exclusive items. If you're making something, let's think you're making a custom item, you're making a pin of a statue or whatnot. Say maybe your members get the gold version and everybody
Mm.
else gets a different version,
Oh.
or they get first dibs on that. That really helps highlight the power of being a member. Same with if you have any limited editions, any access to your have that you have scarcity there. Get it, letting them go in and be able to get that first.
I
And
remember too when we did like exhibit openings.
Mhm.
We that would be the day that the new products that were related to the exhibit would be in the museum store. So at the members only exhibit opening and exhibit preview, they also had the opportunity to buy any of the branded stuff
Yes.
for maybe a licensed exhibit or something like that. They got to buy it first.
Yeah, I love that part of it. And so it feels like exclusive. You're adding that information. And I also just like to pick member brains. A lot of membership has been members for years, or they're excited about the store, they're excited about the museum. What do they want? And they
Mm-hmm.
people love to know that their thoughts are valued. So reach out to them if you can pair with membership to see what they're hoping to see. And the excitement of having that product in store really pays back and
It's
having them recognized.
it always surprises me too that we continue to guess on so many things
Hmm.
where we could literally just ask people, right?
Exactly. Exactly. It's a win-win for everybody.
I see another question here that I'm assuming everybody is wanting.
Hmm.
What type of items sell best in smaller museums?
Ooh. I wish I could give you one answer, but it really differs on type of museum. On the type of museum you're doing, is it science, historic house, is it art? It's all going to be a little different.
Mhm.
Um, but I'd look at really looking at your sales that you've had before and using that to give you a hint. But also, I'll say if something looks like it should be a freebie, a promo item, that's not the item that's going to be selling the best because it feels like it should be a freebie. People are not going to
Right.
be investing in those items. So take the time to invest in products that are unique and interesting. So you're not competing with everybody. You're just showing off how awesome your museum is, how awesome your mission is, and they've got to get it there.
Absolutely. If it looks like swag, something we all get,
Yeah.
freebies, it should be in a goodie bag,
Yeah.
not on the store shelf, right?
And our logo magnets are great. I see those logo magnets are a big seller. I'm thinking of, those the cheap cups that have like a logo on them. It seems like you just went down the promo list and put a logo on everything, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One question that came that I see here too that I think could be again one of those things that's very relevant and could be done today or tomorrow is
Hmm.
what is one low cost way to elevate the store's appearance?
Ooh.
Allison, I see you.
Low cost way. I like to actually, if your store is super full, thinning it out. So things actually
Hmm.
are have room to shine is a great way to do it. So you're highlighting it, creating those stories. If you're in front of a shelf, that whole shelf should tell kind of a story together. You don't need a sign to tell it. You can get it, you can understand that. But
Hmm.
incorporate, if you don't have space to get like display boxes and this and that, just use a pile of your books and then pile your book on top. Make sure that you have a great colors together. Maybe it's a blues and green section, or you're having everything paired together. So you're maybe it's a beautiful book on ferns, and then you have a plant scented candle next to it. Pairing that up, so you're creating these little mini stories, and all of that you're doing without spending any money, getting merchandising into the store.
And my thought process too, when I thought of it as a not museum consultant, not a museum store consultant, I consult on other museum things,
Yeah.
um, was change the floor plan.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I remember the days, even as a staff person, we would have a dark day in the museum where the museum is closed to the general public. And one of those days, our museum store person came in and changed the entire floor plan. And even as a staff person walking in the next day, I was like, oh, look at that. I never saw that in the store before.
It's
You
so
know, and
true.
yes, that's a retail thing. And a lot of people who've been in retail get it. But again, this is something that's been added to the plate of the non-retail people.
Yeah.
So just changing the floor plan or like moving the shelves around. I like the whole color coding idea. Is that like that's a way to take what you have right now and just sort it and display it differently so that it catches the eye.
Yeah. I mean, change that around. Changing it around is great. Keep that in mind for a calendar. Go, look, every 3 months or so, I'm changing this area.
Huh.
And keep it up to date, especially that front entrance area. You want to get that changing up because it's what people see first, they're drawn into. And you can change it by exhibit, or maybe it's just a season, whatever works for your institution.
Adding like non-retail things in every once in a while. I remember
Mhm.
like we had a tropical beach thing at one point and they got like the blow up palm tree and some
Yes.
flamingos on the side and like it wasn't at all something that was for sale, but it was something that caught the eye.
Yeah.
And then all the retail stuff was there. So interesting.
Yeah.
Just things I've seen, not
I,
things I can say are proven to be good.
I've even painted on the glass because I didn't have the money to put things in. So I painted with some kids' paint on the glass and put a winter scene up, and made it easy, and it
Right.
changes the whole feel of it.
Well, and I liked the idea too that you had mentioned earlier in the call too about using those smaller museum store areas as almost like prototypes,
Hmm.
and it gives you that flexibility to try it before you dive totally in. I like that idea.
It's an experiment. Oh, I
Right?
love it, a good experiment.
Right? Exactly, exactly. All right,
I
did you
wanted to
see?
mention, Beth, if you don't mind, I wanted to mention really quickly that Teresa had a question and you answered part of it. But just in case any of you are wondering, her question was, where do I see those past Museum Minds recordings? And I
Ooh,
put both of our free communities in there. So all you got to do is join. It's free. You'll see all the recordings and you can come to the after party. So
Right,
wanted to make
exactly.
sure everybody knew that or saw that in the chat.
Because we have referenced a few of our past recorded sessions. Uh, there's a lot of cool stuff, and like we were celebrating, there are over 24 episodes, which is really good.
Yeah.
All right, it looks like we have about 3 minutes left. Melody, do you have one last question or one last word of wisdom?
I saw something in a couple spots, but how do we compete with like shipping, big box stores? We're not Amazon, oh no. Like, how do we make this happen? You don't need to compete with those folks, is what I would say. You're comparing yourself to an Amazon, compare yourself to a Versace. They take a couple days to process an order, and then they say it's going to be 4 to 7 days for you to get it. That think of yourself in that way. You're delivering a whole different experience. You're delivering your mission. You're delivering a different type of experience when it comes to shipping in store and online. So just, yeah, you can compare yourself, but you're not, you got to choose the right ones.
Yeah. And who wants to be seen as the Walmart of the museum world? No. 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 We are the Versace of the museum world,
That's what I say.
but at a decent price so that people actually buy things. Right? Exactly. Well, it has been so awesome having you here today, Melody. What a honor to have you in our space to be able to give some information. Thank you so much for being here. There's your beautiful face. Yay. Thank you so much. And I am sorry for the technical difficulties wherever they showed up. I'm not quite sure. Um, but we're so glad to have you. And as a friend of ours, we know we will see Melody again and again for many, many things. And if you want to see Melody's face a little bit more often, we will absolutely have her contact information in the email tomorrow so that you can get a hold of her. Of course, she's on LinkedIn. You can find her on the socials. She loves updating her website. So she's got a lot of information there too. We love it. Ooh, Rainey, thank you so much. She just put Melody's website in the chat as well. So you can click over there and chat with her. You can always chat with us more. So we're gonna get ready for the after party. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. It's been lovely. It's been wonderful. If you're looking for something that's just a little bit more, stick around for the after party.